Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be making a Christmas tree ornament Gingy from Shrek using the OMTECH Turbo 747 laser machine. So let's just jump straight into this video. I have turned my machine on with my big red button on the right hand side, turned on my exhaust extraction fan, and I have my machine ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to get my material into the laser bed ready to go. This is 3mm thick MDF wood. And I'm just going to go and align my piece of timber up to where the laser head would meet in the corners so that I'm not missing out on any materials, or I'm going to be trying to cut over material that's not actually there. Now, there is no specific alignment when it comes to the honeycomb bed as to where the laser head is, because the honeycomb bed is actually larger than the laser bed axis bars can actually go. So make sure you do double check where your laser head is going to go on your frame. Then we are going to autofocus the material by pressing focus and then enter, and it's going to automatically raise the bed up to autofocus in the best position. Once that's done, close the lid and hit the reset button to actually make the machine fire up. Now, I've already gone ahead and put my file into Lightburn. This is something completely separate to actual cutting the material. So if you want to see how I do my SVGs in Lightburn, I can definitely do a separate video. But here are all the pieces for my little Gingy to start with. Now, this is going to be a 2-layered type of ornament, simply because I want to get a little bit of height and dimension. I could have just gone ahead and used like a 6mm or a 9mm thick MDF. However, though, I do find that with a 9mm, it is a little bit trickier to cut. So I'm deciding to go with 3mm as the base, and then I'm going to be utilizing a 6mm to glue on top of these pieces to make that height come out better. The actual outcut of Gingy in the back there that you can see is going to be the base for my actual piece itself. This is just an off-cut piece of MDF wood that is the 6mm, and now I'm going to go and recut all the pieces out, especially the body. Now, the body's only going to be one layer, which is 6mm, but all the little icing pieces and the little tubes for his buttons are going to be the 6mm plus the 3mm, so they've got a little bit of height and dimension to it. Now, I find that this machine cuts very easily through a 6mm piece of MDF wood. I do think that if I had a better quality 9mm or 12mm MDF timber, like the actual quality of it itself would cut better, like if it was designed specifically for laser cutting. However, though, I only have access to what I have, which is my local Bunnings, and that's the only quality that they have. You can go online and buy specific laser cutting MDF wood, which makes it so much easier to cut through if you want to go into those thicker pieces. Now that I've got all my pieces cut ready to go, I'm going to lay them out on my table and start to assemble them and get the height that I want. Yes, it is a little bit charry and burnt on the edges. You can see with that 6mm, I could have definitely turned my power down, but I just did what I did, and it doesn't really matter because all the pieces are still intact. They are not falling apart, and I'm actually going to be priming and sanding anyway. So all those burnt edges for me in this particular project do not matter whatsoever. So you can see here, I'm actually going to be using my 3mm MDF wood at the bottom of my project and putting the thicker piece at the top, because when I do sand my pieces, I don't want to chip into the thinner piece of material. If I've got the 6mm at the top, I've got more room to work with when sanding, and no visible lines are going to come through on the edges where they are joined together. I am just literally using glue to glue these pieces together. It's like a super glue. It is a slow curing glue, because if you just use regular super glue, it's going to grab real quickly, lock together, and then you're not really going to be able to maneuver it much. And it's really important to make sure that you have these aligned, because if you don't, those pieces won't slot back into their original spaces in the actual piece itself. Now that I have all of my pieces assembled and glued together, I'm going to make sure I put my actual artwork intact together onto my little baking tray, which I utilize for spray painting. Now, off camera, I have gone ahead and sanded every single piece to get the effects that I want to get. Now that I've put all my pieces onto the backboard itself, I'm going to make sure they are exactly where I want them, because now I'm going to be spraying it all with primer, and I don't want them to be out of place because I want them to go back in like a puzzle piece perfectly. So just using a little bit of grey primer, I'm going to go ahead and prime the entire thing, because if you know with MDF wood, you can't just go straight in with spray paint because it will not stick. So you need to use a primer on any kind of wood base before you do spray paint. Now that I've got all my pieces spray painted, I have let them completely dry. There is a little bit of ridges on the backboard of my actual Gingy, but that's okay. This is the back side of the ornament. So this will be the side that I'll be facing outwards on the Christmas tree. And I've got the underside, which I have painted as well, that I'm now going to start gluing all my pieces onto. If I didn't have this underside painted, then you would, if you put the pieces on and there's gaps, you would see the clear MDF wood through. So I've made sure I matched it to the same color that my actual main piece is going to be. So this is a very simple process of going ahead and gluing all your pieces together. And again, I am using a slow cure glue simply because I want to be able to manipulate and move the piece into the exact spot that I want before it actually cures. And here it is, all done. He is so stinking cute. I absolutely love how he has turned out. I could have gotten him a little bit smoother as far as my spray painting and sanding goes, but this is all a learning process. And all I need to do now is attach a ribbon on the back, and he is ready to hang on the Christmas tree. For the gumdrop buttons, I actually ended up using a little bit of glitter on there, so it gives a little bit of a sugary effect to those buttons, as realistic as it can get. And I love how this has turned out. So here is a little Gingy from Shrek Christmas ornament that I have made very easily on the OMTECH Turbo 747. This is something that you can do yourself, so be sure to try it out. If you are interested in any kind of OMTECH machinery or looking at getting an upgrade on your machine, make sure you use the code Peachy at checkout, because you will get a little discount on your machines. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.